There is a statistic that gets quoted so often it has almost lost its ability to shock people, but it should not have. According to research from the IRS, 65% of self-made millionaires have at least 3 sources of income. Not 1, not 2, but 3 or more, and many of them have significantly more than that. And they did not build those multiple income streams after they became wealthy. They built them on the way there. Meanwhile, the average household depends almost entirely on a single paycheck from a single employer. One job, one income, one point of failure. And here's the thing nobody says out loud about that arrangement. It's not just financially limiting, it's that it is genuinely fragile. Because the moment that one income stream is interrupted, a layoff, a health crisis, a company restructuring, an industry disruption, there is nothing underneath it. No net, no backup, just a very fast countdown to financial stress. Today we are going to talk about why the wealthy build multiple income streams, how they do it, and exactly what that looks like in practical terms for a regular person in their 30s or 40s or older who is starting from a single salary and wants to build something more durable. But before we talk about what the wealthy do, let us be honest about the specific vulnerability that comes with depending on one income source. Because most people do not fully feel it until it is too late. When your entire financial life is funded by one employer, that employer has enormous power over you. They control your income, your benefits, your ability to pay your mortgage, your ability to save for retirement, and in many cases, your sense of financial security and self-worth. And most people, if they are being honest, know this arrangement makes them uncomfortable. They just do not feel the urgency to change it until something goes wrong. The numbers are sobering. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average American will hold 12 different jobs between the ages of 18 and 54. That is an average of one job change roughly every 3 years, and many of those transitions are not voluntary. Layoffs, company closures, industry contractions, and forced career pivots are not rare events. They are a predictable feature of a working life. And every time a single income household loses that income, the financial damage is immediate, serious, and often lasting. Let's make this real with James. James is 43 years old, earns $85,000 a year as a project manager, and has built a comfortable life on that one income stream. He has a mortgage, 2 car payments, and a lifestyle that fits neatly within his salary with a modest amount left over for savings. Then his company announces a round of layoffs. James is out. With no other income coming in, he has roughly 4 months of emergency savings before the financial pressure becomes severe. He starts drawing down his retirement accounts, triggering taxes and penalties, and it takes him 8 months to land a comparable role at a lower salary. By the time he is back on his feet, he has lost over $40,000 in savings and retirement contributions, set his financial plan back by years, and spent 8 months under a level of stress that affects everything from his health to his relationships. Now imagine the same scenario with one difference. James had been building a second income stream for the previous 3 years, a rental property generating $1,200 a month in passive income, or a consulting practice bringing in $2,000 a month on weekends, or a dividend portfolio generating $800 a month. None of those numbers are dramatic, but any one of them changes James' 8-month crisis into a manageable transition. That is the entire argument for multiple income streams in a single paragraph. The wealthy do not stumble into multiple income streams. They build them deliberately, sequentially, and with a clear understanding of what each type of income does for them. And when you look at how self-made millionaires actually structure their income, a consistent pattern emerges. The first income stream is almost always earned income, a salary, a business, a professional practice. This is the foundation. It provides the cash flow that funds everything else, and it is where the wealth-building process begins. But the wealthy understand something crucial about earned income that most people miss. It is the most fragile type of income that exists because it requires your continued active participation to keep flowing. The moment you stop working, it stops, which is exactly why they treat it as a launch pad rather than a destination. The second stream is typically investment income. dividends from a stock portfolio, interest from bonds, distributions from index funds. This is the income that grows while you sleep, compounds over time, and eventually becomes capable of funding your life without any effort on your part at all. The wealthy start building this stream early and contribute to it consistently because they understand that the only way to make investment income meaningful is to give it time. A $500,000 dividend portfolio yielding 3.5% generates $17,500 a year in passive income. That number is not life-changing on its own, but it is also not nothing, and it arrived without James lifting a finger. The third stream varies widely: real estate rental income, a side business, royalties, licensing, consulting, content creation. But what all of these have in common is that they are income sources that do not depend on a single employer's decision about James's continued employment. They are income sources that James controls, that he built deliberately, and that continue generating regardless of what happens to his primary job. The key insight here is that multiple income streams are not built all at once. They are built one at a time, sequentially, using the cash flow from each previous stream to fund the development of the next one. The wealthy do not start with 5 income streams. They start with one, build a second, use the second to accelerate the third, and over time arrive at a financial structure that is both resilient and self-reinforcing. Here is where we get practical, because the most common response to the concept of multiple income streams is a version of, "That sounds great, but I already have a full-time job and 2 kids and 0 extra hours in the week." And that is a fair and honest objection that deserves a fair and honest answer. The answer is that building a second income stream does not require starting a business, buying a rental property, or dedicating 20 hours a week to something new. It requires starting somewhere, anywhere, and doing it consistently over time. The compounding logic that applies to investments applies equally to income streams. Small, consistent effort over a long period of time produces results that look almost miraculous when you look back at them and look completely impossible when you look forward at them. For most people in their 30s and 40s, the most accessible first step toward a second income stream is maximizing their investment contributions so that dividend and capital gains income begins building in the background. This does not require any extra time. It requires a decision to increase your 401k contribution rate, open a brokerage account, and let the market do the work over the next 10 to 15 years. Done consistently, a person contributing $1,000 a month into a diversified index fund at a 10% average annual return will have a portfolio generating roughly $6,000 a month in the 4% safe withdrawal rate by the time they hit $1.8 million. That is a full income replacement from a stream they built by doing almost nothing beyond staying consistent. The second most accessible step is to identify what specialized skill or knowledge you already have from your primary career that other people would pay for outside of your employer relationship. Consulting, freelancing, coaching, teaching, content creation, the specific form matters far less than the principle, which is that the expertise you have already spent years developing has value beyond the single salary it currently generates. Turning even a portion of that expertise into independent income is one of the highest leverage financial moves a person in their 30s or 40s can make. The wealthy are not wealthy because they earn more than everyone else. In many cases, their individual income streams are not dramatically larger than those of people who are struggling. What separates them is the architecture of their income. The fact that they have built multiple sources that feed each other, compound over time, and create a financial structure that no single event can collapse. 1 income stream is a job. 2 income streams is a plan. 3 income streams is the beginning of genuine financial freedom. And the distance between where most people are and where they need to be is not as large as it feels. It is just a series of deliberate decisions made consistently over a long enough period of time. Start the second stream, then build the third, and let the architecture do what architecture does. Hold everything up, even when one piece of it shifts. If this video gave you something useful, go ahead and hit the like button and share it with someone. Subscribe if you are not already, because next week we are going deep on something that connects directly to this one.